Hi students. In today's session, we are going to discuss about web technologies. Like we'll see what is the use of client-side technologies, server-side technologies, and we'll see what is the use of HTML, JavaScript, CSS, jQuery, Bootstrap, DOM, all these. So this UI technologies course duration is like 45 to 50 days will be there. So within 45 to 50 days, I'll try to complete like HTML, HTML5, then JavaScript, and then we'll discuss about CSS, and then jQuery, Bootstrap, document object model. All these we'll see one by one, and then I'll give introduction to Angular and React.js. So to understand what they are, how they'll work, like we'll see a few examples, not in depth, only just to know how they'll work. We'll see 2-3 examples in Angular.js, and then React.js also we'll discuss. So here in my classes, HTML or HTML5, all the tags we are going to discuss. Will not skip anything. And while working with JavaScript, here you will learn JavaScript as a language. Like you will learn manual JavaScript, like writing the programs, executing. Then here you will see features of JavaScript, and then we'll discuss about data types, and then we'll see operators. Then we'll discuss about if condition, switch case, for loop, while loop, do while. Then after that, arrays, functions, then controls events. Then we'll discuss about all JavaScript objects, creating user-defined objects, then functions, and then we'll discuss about cookies, then exception handling. Then all these we are going to discuss. Like everything we'll discuss in detail about JavaScript. And in CSS also we'll discuss about all the selectors, and then we'll discuss about advanced selectors are also there. So advanced selectors we'll discuss about layers, layouts, and we'll see how to use CSS templates in our projects. And then we are going to discuss about jQuery also. So in jQuery we are going to discuss about the selectors. Selectors we'll discuss how to use selectors, and then we'll discuss about jQuery, HTML, jQuery, CSS, jQuery Ajax, and jQuery like effects, animations, jQuery widgets or controls. All these we'll discuss. And in Bootstrap, we are going to discuss about like the other things related to. In Bootstrap, we have many predefined selectors related to buttons, related to like form. Then Jumbotron we'll discuss in Bootstrap, and we'll discuss about creating navigation bar, working with grid. Like all these we are going to discuss. And then after that, we are going to discuss about document object model. So in JavaScript, document object is there. So using document object, we can work with many functions like get element by ID, then inner.html, get element by tag, then nodes collection. Lot of things are there. Like all we are going to discuss. And for every class, I will send you the notes and recorded session and send. And then we'll see how to host a website in internet, like how to place it in internet server. Like all these we are going to discuss in our classes. Okay, so let me continue with the concepts. So for every concept here, notes is already there. So I'm having the notes. I'm going to send notes to your mail ID, so that with that you can practice examples easily. So here you can see notes is related to Angular and Bootstrap, and CSS notes is there. So document object model notes, and HTML. So HTML notes you can see here, and JavaScript notes, complete notes about the JavaScript, and jQuery nodes is there, and React JS nodes is also available. I'll send all these to your mail IDs. So here to learn UI technologies or web technologies, no need to have any prerequisite. Okay, so those who are interested to enter into IT field, they can learn UI technologies or web technologies. It is like a basic course. So without having any programming knowledge, students can learn. Like IT students can learn, non-IT students can learn. Okay, without having any basic knowledge of programming, they can learn this. So all can understand. IT students can understand this course. Non-IT students can understand this course. Like if anybody is not good in programming also, like this HTML, all these any student can easily understand, and this is mandatory for any person who is in IT field. So for Python programmers, for Java programmers, for .NET programmers, and those who are into other courses, those who are into in testing tools. So they have to know like what is HTML, what is JavaScript, what is CSS, what is jQuery, what is Bootstrap, what is DOM. They have to know, because these are the basic things that the students should know while when they are working in IT, like while working on projects, or while if they are working on some other in some other area, they have to know these basics. So they have to know. So students, if you have any doubt, like after the class is over, you can ask me the doubts. Definitely I'll clarify your doubts. Okay. So after the session is over, you can ask me the doubts. So now we are going to discuss about the basics. Like you all may be knowing this, but once again I'll repeat this so that you can understand how the websites in internet will work. So here in internet, in World Wide Web, nearly 6 crores websites are there. Like daily, 1,000 sites are hosted or published in internet, like news sites are hosted or published in internet. And here like in World Wide Web, in internet, thousands of servers, dedicated servers are connected to internet. So every server will have some websites, and those websites are accessed. Okay, like they can be anywhere in India, in China, in US, anywhere the servers can be there. The different companies will maintain the servers. So thousands of servers are connected to internet, and many internet service providers are there. So they are taking care of hosting the websites, publishing in internet. So we have to purchase the domain name. All these we need to do it. So here, while working with websites here, like while working with websites and internet, we can say client system and server system is there. So client system means which has a browser. If the system is having browser, it is the client system, because using a browser will open the websites. Like browser means it can be Internet Explorer or Google Chrome or Mozilla. Yeah, like many browsers are there. Like we can use any browser to open the websites in internet. Okay, browser is an application. Like a notepad, it is an application. And here you can see server system is there. So server system means it has a web server. So server system contains web server. So here when we say web server is a software or an application used to store and to run the websites. So whenever you want to store, whenever you want to run websites, web server is used. So here, based on the languages, programming languages we are using, based on the technologies or frameworks we are using, then web server is used. So for Java websites, we'll use Tomcat web server. For .NET websites, we'll use IIS web server, Internet Information Services. And for PHP websites, we'll use Apache web server. And for Django, Python Django, we are going to use Django websites, like Django development server is there. Django development server will be used. Okay, different servers are being used here. So here, while working with websites here, So here we can see two types of pages, static pages, and we can see dynamic pages. You can see here static and dynamic pages we can see. So here when we say static pages, like HTML pages are called as static pages. So HTML pages, we'll call them as static pages here. Okay, HTML pages. So HTML pages, we'll call them HTML means hypertext markup language. Okay, so even in HTML we can see versions. So latest version of HTML is HTML5 is there. Okay, so HTML pages are called as static pages, and we can call them as read-only pages also. Okay, so when we say about HTML pages, so they are controlled or managed by the browser in the client system. So browser can manage HTML pages in the website. So website is the collection of pages. So it can have static pages or it can have dynamic pages. It can have both. Website I'm saying. Okay, so here HTML pages are controlled by the browser. So controlling means it will allow us to move from one page to another page in the website. We can work in the website, so we can move from one page to another page, all this. So when we use HTML pages is whenever you want to display the same information to all the users accessing the website. So whenever you want to use the same information to all the users accessing the website, then HTML pages are used. So HTML pages can display like news or advertisements or images or some other content which is common to all the users. Then HTML pages can be used. So HTML pages examples are like home page, first page, index page, then about us, then contact us, about us page, contact us page, sitemap sitemap, all these will be there. Okay, so these pages can be about us, like index.html, about us.html, contact us.html, sitemap.html. File extensions can be like this. Okay, so here about us means that page will show information about the business or the company or the organization, like when the business is started, then who is the director, managing director, like all these information will be there. Okay, and contact us means the organization or the business will provide contact details like email ID, phone number, all these will be there. So next is a sitemap is there. Sitemap is used to display the information related to the site, like what all pages are there, what information is available. Like in some websites, for searching the data, it takes time. Like in news related site, if I want to search for one particular news, like we may not know where it is existing. Like in news portals, if I want to search for like IPL, okay, so in that case, to search where the information is there, where score is there, like it will take time. Then we can directly go to sitemap, there we can see information. So navigation is very fast there. Like quickly we can go to the required page. Like for example, if you see online shopping sites, like if you want to purchase one particular product, like there we can see many categories, subcategories, subcategories. To search, when we search all the products, it takes a lot of time for doing shopping. In sitemap, we can search for what information we want. We can check that. Okay. So here when we say HTML or when we say HTML pages or when we say HTML files, when we say HTML pages or when we say HTML files, then it is a client side. It works in browser. Like while working with websites, we'll see two types here: client side and server side, or we can say front end and back end. Okay, so HTML is client side or front end, works in browser, or we can say it runs in browser. Okay, so along with HTML pages or along with HTML files, so we can use other client side technologies. Other client side technologies we can use, like here we can use a VB, VB script, and we can say JavaScript, and then we can use CSS, jQuery, then we can use a Bootstrap, and DOM, document object model, and then Angular, React JS, like all these will be there. Okay, all these are what client side, like front end. All these will works with HTML, along with HTML pages or HTML files. So we can use all these client side technologies or frameworks we can use. Okay, and here you can see VB script is there, VB script, JavaScript. So VB script is used in Internet Explorer. Okay, but JavaScript works in all the popular browsers. Like JavaScript is very popular because it supports all the browsers, and we can use CSS, cascading style sheet, jQuery, Bootstrap, DOM. All these we can use along with HTML pages or with HTML files we can use. Okay, so here HTML page or HTML file is the base. So when HTML page or HTML file is there, then we can use JavaScript or CSS or jQuery or Bootstrap or DOM. All these we can use. And then here Angular is there here. So Angular contains like starting versions are Angular JS. Now after that it is renamed as Angular. So Angular works with TypeScript. So it is a superscript of JavaScript. So it is like modern languages, like what all features we see in Java, like classes, interfaces, the same we can see in TypeScript. So classes, creating classes, creating interfaces, all we can see. And here in Angular, we can see two frameworks, Angular framework and Node.js. Angular framework is front end, Node.js is back end. And here React.js is there. It is used for reusing UI components. Whenever you are using the same content or same data repeatedly in different locations in the website, then by using React.js, we can create a reusable UI components or UI code or controls. We can use it. Okay. So what all I've told now, all these comes under like it is a client side, or we can say front end. Okay, and here when we say about dynamic pages, so here we have dynamic pages. So dynamic pages means these are controlled or managed by the these are controlled or managed by the web server in the server system. Okay, web server will manages dynamic pages, and in dynamic pages from user to user information will change. Server will not show the same information to all the users accessing the website. Okay, so these are used for user specific information. Okay, so dynamic pages examples are login page, registration page, change password, password recovery. All these are called as dynamic pages. Okay, so like login page, when we give the data will go to server, username password will go to server, server will validate and will give the response. Registration page also, the details will go to server, the server will send the details to database, and then we'll get the response. Like change password, again it is updated in the server. Password recovery means it will send a email, like it may ask like a question and answer, like whatever we give in the beginning. So then it will validate. So all these are what the dynamic pages, because they are managed by the web server in the server system. Like while working with Gmail, so if in with Gmail, if I connect with So here I'll connect with Gmail account. So here after login is successful, or when I enter into Gmail, here when I enter into Gmail, you can see this page here. Like we are all familiar with the page because every day we are going to use. So here you can see left side, you can see quick launch bar is there. Like here you can see many hyperlinks for quick navigation. We can use this, and here you can see primary, social, promotions tabs are there. So we can create tabs like this using jQuery. We can create. Okay, and here this page, whatever you are seeing here, so this page will call it as a single page application. So single page application means in one particular page, so we can do all our work. So instead of jumping from one website, one page to another page in the website, okay, like opening many pages, then in one page we can do everything. So here we can see send mails, we can receive the mails, and we can do a lot of other works here. So if you want to create a single page application, then we have to use Angular. Angular, we need to use it. Okay. And here, if I connect to Gmail with my account, then it will show only my mails, like whatever information that you are seeing here. So this is dynamic. So this is showing from the server. From server, we are getting the information here. Okay, so if you connect to Gmail with your account, in inbox you will get only your mails. So what is this data is then? It is dynamic data because this information is coming from the server. So this information will change from user to user. It won't be the same to all the users accessing the website. Okay, so whenever you want to create a pages like this, then we have to use dynamic pages. So dynamic pages we have to use. So if you want to create a dynamic pages, or if you want to create a dynamic websites, then we have to use a backend technologies or server side technologies we have to use. So backend technologies means here I'll say PHP, then JSP, servlets. Okay, and then here we are going to use like ASP.NET. So here ASP is there, ASP.NET, and ASP.NET MVC, and Django, then Ruby on Rails, and Node.js. Like all these are there. So all these are used for creating dynamic pages. Dynamic pages we can create. Okay, so if you want to be a web developer, if you want to create websites, a website with static pages, dynamic pages, then you have to know about the all the UI technologies like web technologies. Okay, like HTML, JavaScript, CSS, jQuery, Bootstrap, DOM, all these you have to know. Okay, and dynamic pages, to develop dynamic pages, you have to know at least one server side technology. Not all. No need to learn all. It is very difficult also. So client side technologies, UI technologies means all you can learn. Within 45 days, you can complete all the UI technologies, web technologies. Server side technologies means you should learn only one server side technology, one backend technology. Okay, so only one is enough. So you should see like which is having a good demand now, and you can learn. So those who know Java, they will work on JSP and servlets. And those who know .NET, they'll work on ASP.NET, ASP.NET MVC. Those who know Python, they'll work with Django. Okay, so those who know UI technologies, like you can go with like Ruby or Node.js. All these you can learn. So PHP, ASP is old. We can say like they are outdated. Okay, but still we'll see many websites in internet with PHP, ASP. We'll see. Okay, so there we are not using them. But if you want to go with the latest, then you can use a Ruby or Node.js. Like all these, we can use it. So I think all are understanding what I'm saying. So if you want to be the master in web development, you have to learn client side technologies, UI technologies, and you have to learn at least one server side technology. Okay, so depends on the course you are interested, you can learn that possibility is there here. Okay, and here so when you work with the dynamic pages, like students may be having doubt what is the difference between HTML pages and static pages and dynamic pages. Static and dynamic pages. So what all websites are there in internet? All the websites are executed with HTTP or HTTPS protocol. Okay, like when you are working with websites in internet, HTTP or HTTPS protocol is used. So in network, while transferring the data, different protocols are used, like HTTP or HTTPS and FTP, TCP, UDP, all these are there. So HTTP means hypertext transfer protocol. S means secured, and FTP means file transfer protocol. Then TCP means transmission control protocol. UDP means user datagram protocol. All these are there. Okay. So, but when we work with websites in internet, HTTP or HTTPS is used. If I use this, if I say durgasoft.com, like here you can see this here. Here you can see. So here HTTP, here you can see this protocol. It is saying what? Not secure. Whatever information we transfer in network, so here it is saying that it is not secure here. It is not secure. Okay. And if I use like Gmail, here you can see HTTPS log symbol is given, means the information is secured here. Information is secured. So difference between HTTP or HTTPS is like in HTTP, inbuilt security won't be there to secure the data. But in HTTPS, whatever information we send, it is secured. The information is secured. Okay, like in HTTP, we have to write code for securing the data. In HTTPS, no need to write the code because by default the security feature is enabled. It will works. Okay, and here when we are working with this HTTP or HTTPS, it is called a stateless protocol. So stateless protocol means HTTP or HTTPS both. Okay, so it is stateless protocol. Stateless protocol means it cannot remember the values given in the pages in the website, and it cannot remember the pages opened in the website. So simply HTTP or HTTPS cannot maintain history. Okay, like we all know about history in browser. Like students may be having doubt, then how the history is maintained, like maintaining the URLs of the pages that are opened in the browser. History will maintain the URLs of the pages. URLs of the pages open in the browser. URLs means uniform resource locators, like website addresses. It will maintain the address of the pages which are open in the browser. Okay, so like maintaining the history, like maintaining information, maintaining the web pages URLs or addresses, like it is a different mechanism. Okay, so like students may be having doubt, like if HTTP or HTTPS, if it is not maintaining information, if it is not maintaining web pages values, if it is not storing web pages values or website information or web pages information, then why we are using it? So HTTP or HTTPS are communication protocols. So they are used to transfer the data in network from client to server, server to client. So whatever request we send, it is HTTP request. Whatever response we get, it is HTTP response. Okay. So only for transferring the data, we are using HTTP or HTTPS protocols we are using here. Okay. So like when we are working with HTML pages, when you work with HTML or JavaScript or other client-side technologies, so using HTML and JavaScript, we can maintain information. We can maintain the data in browser or else in the client system, like web pages values or website information, like other data we can store here. Okay, using HTML or JavaScript, we can do it. So in HTML5, web storage concept is introduced. Web storage, like we can see local storage, session storage, all these are there. Using a session storage concept in HTML5, so we can maintain web pages values in the browser or website information in the browser, so that we can use that information across pages in the website, or else we can use the information across multiple requests that are sent to the server. So we can use that information across multiple requests. Like when we send one by one, we can store the data and we can maintain and we can use it. Okay. So in HTML5, we'll use web storage. In a JavaScript, cookies concept is there. By using cookies also, we can store information and then we can access. We can store information in the browser, in the client system, and then we can access. Okay. So if the web pages values or website information or whatever data we are using across pages in the website or across multiple requests that are sent to the server, then the problem is the data is not safe. When we store the information in browser or else in the client system, it is not safe. It is not secured. And accessing the data is slow. Like when we access the data, it works slow, and we can store less amount of data, less amount of information, like with HTML or JavaScript when we do this. Okay, so when we are working with the dynamic pages, when we are working with dynamic pages, or when we are working with server-side technologies or backend technologies, so we can store web pages values or website information in directly in the server. We can store in the server itself. Okay, so whatever information we store in the server, like then it is secured only, like it is safe. So when the information related to the web pages or website information or information related to the website, anything, when if it is stored in the server, then it is safe. So whenever we are working with confidential data, whenever we are working with sensitive data, like passwords, then account number, credit card number, debit card number, PIN number. So when we are working with all these, when we work with all these information, when we work with all these information, then we have to use then we need to work with this server side information we need to store here. Okay, so like confidential data. So in that case, we can avoid middleman attacks, data tampering. So we can secure the data from hackers, not to access the information. Like all these will be there. So when we are using server side technologies, like we can implement other security features, like SQL injection attack we can implement, cross-site request forgery, then cross-site hijacking, cross-site scripting, many things are there. Like all sorts of securities related to the website or web pages, we can implement with dynamic pages. So in this session, I cannot explain like what is SQL injection attack, what is cross-site request forgery, what is cross-site scripting, what is cross-site hijacking, and then if I want to stop like robotic programs, like in internet, what will happen is automated programs will run and they will fill the page and they will submit it to the server. Okay, so like we can stop automated programs. In many websites, you all will see like you have to select I'm not robot, then we have to give captcha. Captcha it will show, because if an automated program is running, like automated program means we'll say robot, ROBOT. In short form, we'll say BOT. Okay, so robot means it is not a machine sitting in front of the system typing. Robot is nothing but automated program. Like somebody will create and they will like execute in browsers, they will execute. Okay, so to avoid these automated programs, we can use captcha, and we can use image recognition, identifying the images. Like in many websites, we'll see while doing payments and all, we'll see all those. Okay, So using dynamic pages, even we can implement this stopping automated programs. Like when automated programs will, when they are executed, they will create unnecessary traffic, or it may crash your application, and malware or virus may be affected. Like all these happens. Okay, so with dynamic pages, with server side technologies or server side coding, we can implement all these we can do it. Okay, and here with dynamic pages, here we can work with a database integration, we can work with. So if I want to integrate the web pages with MySQL or SQL SQLite, or SQL Server, or Oracle database, or with any other databases. So if I want to integrate web pages with any database, sending the data, receiving the data, with server side technologies or with backend technologies, it is possible. We can do that. Okay, so here, that's why here I'm saying that, like if you learn web technologies or UI technologies, then you will be into designing. Okay, you will be working with designing the pages, all these you'll do. But when you learn Angular, Node.js, then you will work as a programmer, like you will write coding. Okay, and here if you learn other server side technologies like Node.js or others, any one of the server side technologies, then you can work on dynamic pages also. You can work as a programmer. You can write code to connect to the database, to maintain the data, like implementing security, maintaining a website information, like all these you can do it. Okay, so in that case, server side technologies can be used. Okay, so here in our classes, like we are going to focus on only on client side technologies, UI technologies, or web technologies. Afterwards, if you are interested to learn any one server side technology, then you can decide like which is having very good demand now at present. Then according to that, you can learn dynamic pages, like server side technologies also you can learn. As I said, JSP and servlets are related to Java. Then ASP.NET, ASP.NET MVC related to .NET. But Django is related to Python. Like Ruby, Node.js, you can learn. Like you can choose anyone. PHP and ASP are outdated. Now we are not using it. But in internet, still many websites are there which are on PHP or which are on ASP. Okay, and here, like when you are learning all the like courses in UI technologies, like HTML, then JavaScript, and then when you are learning CSS, jQuery, Bootstrap, DOM, all these, uh, while learning all these, I'll use a notepad. So I'll be using notepad here. So while using notepad, will not get any intelligence, like displaying the other options. Like working with notepad is not easy because we'll not get anything. So we have to type everything manually. Okay. So if you know how to work with a notepad, then you can easily work with other editors. Like later you can use Dreamweaver, you can use Adobe Dreamweaver. In real time, designers will use a Dreamweaver for designing the pages, and they may use Flash, Photoshop, then CorelDRAW, like many other tools are there. So they may be using other softwares or tools. And if you know how to work with in Notepad, you can work in Dreamweaver, or else you can work in PyCharm. Like many other IDs also are also there. So IDE means integrated development environment. So if you know how to work in Notepad, you can you can work in any editors, you can work in any IDE, like PyCharm, Eclipse, then NetBeans, then Sublime, Atom, Jupyter, many are there. Like in any like IDE, integrated development environment, you can work. Okay, so here what I'm saying here is when you are learning all these HTML, HTML5, JavaScript, CSS, jQuery, Bootstrap, DOM, when we are working with all these, like I will be using Notepad, I'll write programs in Notepad, and I will execute in browser. Okay, so for all these, web server is not required. So when the students are learning UI technologies or web technologies, like web server is not necessary. We are not going to use. Okay, and those who are learning server side technologies, those are learning any one of the server side technology or any one of the backend technologies. When they are learning, when they are practicing server side or backend technology, they have to use a web server. Okay, so while learning UI technologies, here I'm not going to use web server. You also will not use. But whenever we are working with all these UI technologies, internet is also not necessary. Like we should not think like for every example, for every file to run in browser, internet connection is required. That is wrong. Okay, so internet connection is required only for some examples. Like some students may think that from first example to practice internet connection is required. That is wrong. Only for some examples we are going to use internet connection. Okay, so here when we are working with UI technologies, let us say like I'm developing a website. Okay, website with HTML, JavaScript, CSS, jQuery, Bootstrap, all this. Like it is having all HTML pages or static pages. Let us say website is having 10 HTML pages. 10 HTML pages. So while developing the website, I will not use the web server in my laptop. But when it is hosted in internet, when it is published in internet, like website with all HTML pages or static pages, it requires web server. Okay, so in internet, in production server, in internet server, website may have only static pages, or website may have only dynamic pages, or website may have both. Then in a real time, in internet server, in production server, website should run with web server. So their web server is required. It is necessary. Even it may have static pages, it may have dynamic pages. In a real time, it is required. So without web server, HTML page or dynamic page is not executed. Okay, students. So here these are the basics for today's class, and tomorrow we'll see about the other things related to web technologies or UI technologies. Like I'll tell what we are going to discuss in tomorrow. We are going to discuss like what we are going to discuss in like HTML, then like JavaScript. All the basics we'll discuss, and then after that I'll start HTML. See, in UI technologies, introduction means it won't be like 3-4 days. Okay, because this is completely different. So tomorrow we'll see some other basics, and then I will give introduction to HTML. So in these classes, first we'll focus on HTML. HTML5, it may take few classes. Then JavaScript, a few classes. After that CSS, few classes. jQuery, few classes. Bootstrap, few classes. Document object model, few classes. Like that we'll see one by one. And in my classes, I will give you the assignments, and I will tell how to develop the project. We'll see the project also. So in from every chapter, we'll see you have to do the assignments, and you are going to develop a website using all these concepts, what we are going to discuss. Okay. So any doubts, anything to ask the students? And tomorrow I'm taking class. Tomorrow class is there. See, that depends. Like if you know Java, you can go with JSP servlets. If you know .NET, you can go. If you know Python, you can learn Django. Like Node.js is there, Ruby is there. So which one is having good demand? Like in Amirpet, nobody is teaching Ruby. Like all the institutes will be in Amirpet, Hyderabad only. Like nobody is teaching this. Like with some other courses, they'll include Ruby. So separately, they are not teaching. Node.js, you can learn, that possibility is there.
Sir, laptop is necessary for learning web services, sir.
Which one?
Laptop is necessary, sir.
Yeah, for practicing, you need to have, no, madam. For practicing, you cannot practice in mobile, no.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Um, okay, any doubts?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Sir, this course will finish within 45 days, right?
Yeah, 45 days.
Okay. So the assignments will be given after how many days, sir? When you start the course, so the assignment will be
So it
given
will
after
take like 10 days.
completing
Like
the.
that. After 10 days, I will start giving assignments. Project also will discuss. Project also will
Okay.
see with developing website with all the pages using jQuery, Bootstrap, CSS. We'll implement everything.
Okay. So here, I mean, like HTML, JavaScript, CSS, Bootstrap, jQuery, DOM will be covered, right? Angular and React.js won't be covered, right? In this
Yeah,
tutorial.
only introduction.
Okay, only introduction. Okay.
Like
So
for 3-4 classes I'll take, not in depth.
okay. So I mean, like Angular and React.js, how we can use
Yeah, I'll
that will
tell
be
how to use them in web pages. Yes. So we'll see that. We'll
okay.
discuss that. Like we'll see
Okay.
examples using TypeScript also in Angular, in React.js. In Angular, TypeScript is used. No, that we'll see how to use it.
Okay. The assignments, the how will be, I mean, like how we have to submit the assignment after giving
So
your
you have to
assignment.
send it to my mail ID.
Okay. We
Like
need to
every day
send
I'll
it to.
send no day-wise notes, videos I'll send no every day. So to that mail
Okay.
ID you can send assignments.
Okay. Okay. So for after tutorial, I mean, like after this course, I mean, like you people are going to provide the documents. I mean, like any documents for this related to training.
I every day I will send. No, I'm having my notes. I will send every day. I'll send, and Durga soft material is there. If you want that Durga soft
Yeah, yeah,
material, I can
material and
send.
all.
PDF is there. I can send.
Okay, videos and materials both can be. I mean, like both you people
Every
are
day I'll
going to
send.
send. Okay, okay, okay. And also this, I mean, like this tutorial. I mean, like your training session also will be able to send to us. I mean, like if we
Yeah.
miss
See
anything.
now. See whatever I've taught now today. That is
Okay,
recorded. That I will send your mail ID.
okay, okay. Fine, fine, sir. Okay. So this session is started today only, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Today is the
Okay,
first class.
first class. Yeah. Okay,
Okay,
sir.
students. Tomorrow we'll
Yeah.
continue.
Thank you much. Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir. Thank you.
Sir, one more doubt.